Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel.
I know it's been a while, but I'm hoping as this year comes to a close, I'll be uploading more frequently on here, I'll be uploading more music and all of that sort of stuff, but...
Today I am going to be telling you the story of this scar you can see on my neck right here. Call me Harry Potter. I said in my makeup video that I would tell the story, there'll be a story time on this. Let's get right into it. So this started the week before I finished for Christmas with school. I was in school on the Monday. I took the Tuesday off because I had a really sore throat and it wasn't getting better after like a week or whatever. And then I went to the doctors and they took blood. It was my first time getting bloods done. My mom had made an appointment to get them done over Christmas while we were off school. But because I was going anyway, she was like, let's just get them done now. I passed out getting them done because it was my first ever time. And yeah, I was kind of faint for like that whole day. Then I woke up the next morning, my mom had gone into work, and then she came home and I was like, oh, there's something terribly wrong, she's home. And the doctor called her and told her that I need to go into hospital, which was great, my first ever time in hospital. I've been admitted 3 times, and then I've been into 4 different hospitals within 1 month of each other because of this, so yeah. I was in hospital for 3 days, yeah, Wednesday, Thursday, and most of the Friday, and I got out the Friday evening. And they did every test possible. I got x-rays, I got an MRI done. It was all because like I was getting headaches, and my calcium levels in my blood were really high, but on the drive up my mom said it was vitamin C, and then I was like, how is that possible? But then we got there and they were like, no, it's actually the calcium, and she's like, oh yeah, it is, sorry, I got mixed up. Whatever. They admitted me into the emergency assessment unit thing. They did their like once over check on me, then they put me back in the waiting room and they told me, oh, this is what you'll be getting done. You'll meet the doctor in a second, who is the kindest ever, I love him. And he'll tell you what's going on. He said, you'll be getting 2 tests today, then you can stay the night and we'll keep an eye on you for whatever. The first thing I got done was an MRI. Fine, like just bored out of my mind for like 15 minutes. That was done. Went back to the waiting room, then I got called for an ultrasound, and they just, like any other ultrasound, the gel on my neck, they used the thing, they didn't spot anything unusual. Then I stay the night, and then in the morning, they're like, okay, you're fasting today, you're gonna get an ultrasound of your like kidneys and liver area, and they're like, I was like, okay. I went down, got that done. They didn't notice anything wrong there. And then they're like, okay, just stay the night again so we can get back to you. We want to do 1 more set of bloods just to make sure like what's happening, because all this time they had like an IV in my arm, or like an IV, a cannula, whatever you want to call it, and they're just putting saline fluid to flush my blood. More so because they wanted to try and bring my calcium levels down to see if it was just like something that I had taken in the last few days. They wanted to flush my blood, see how that worked out. My calcium level didn't change at all, so they're like, okay, there's an issue. So on the 3rd day that I was there, they told me to go over to a different hospital, and I got a sestamibi scan. For some of you who don't know what that is, it is where they inject a dye into your arm and that travels around your body. And this scan can be used for bone scans, but for me they just did it on my neck to like see where because there's nothing wrong with anything else in my body. They had to check my parathyroids again in a different way to see if there's any swelling or like tumor growth. So thank God I'm not great with injections. Like, I'd only got my blood done a few times, but like now when I get my blood done, I'm so used to it, I don't even feel the needle going in. So like, that's one of my biggest fears with hospitals. Done. Also, I learned how to swallow tablets perfectly. Done. See, like, those are the 2 scariest things to me in my life. Done them. Easy. I already had a cannula in, so he just injected the dye in there, and he was like, just drink a lot of water, and then we'll call you in about 10 minutes for your scan, and then you can go away for about another hour, and then we'll call you in again for a longer scan. I was like, okay. So the first scan was there, I was just like sitting there doing whatever, because like you can't move, just lie there, and like this thing moves over you, and it like goes really close, it goes up, it like moves side to side, like all over, like picture of what's going on. Then I went away, I got more water and I got something to eat, and then I came back and then it was like I went in for the scan. It's like, you just lie down. It's like an MRI. That's, if you've had an MRI, you know what I'm talking about. If you've had this sesame scan, you also know what I'm talking about. It's like an MRI, but like there's something coming up and down, like, and moving around you. And then apparently for this longer one, I was in there for like 45 minutes, but like genuinely it felt like 5. Because they had the radio on there playing like a good radio channel, thank God. Like Dua Lipa came on, like Katy Perry came on, and I was like, they expect me just to sit here like still. And yeah, they're like talking in the background, so it was like just whatever, you're just lying there. I tried not to fall asleep because I didn't know if they wanted my eyes open or not, because like if my eyes are open and it's already taken things like that, if I close them, that's going to change everything. Or if I fell asleep and I moved accidentally, they're like, you do not move. Once this starts moving around you, stay still. So yeah, then after that, they were like, yeah, you can go home, whatever. Then I got back to the hospital, waited for my doctor to come up, and he was like, yeah, you can go, whatever. We'll just get that IV out of your arm and everything should be fine. And then they're just like, yeah, once this is off, you can go. Everything was packed up. We were out of there. Then I got home, and I was like, okay. While we're in the hospital, this guy from a different hospital came and told us about the surgery I'll be getting. They'll be like, he said, you can go get this sesame scan. Whatever shows up, we'll take out. If nothing shows up, you're just strange. Or he said we'd have to run more tests, but you know, whatever. He was like, here's the date, you'll be getting this done. If something shows up, here's the place, here's the room, everything. So this is a completely different hospital, so the third hospital. He was like, it'll be quick surgery. If something shows up, it'll be keyhole. If nothing shows up, we'll have to do some exploratory surgery and find what's wrong. So he was like, it was like the Monday after like Christmas and New Year. It was the day I was supposed to be going back to school after Christmas. So I was like, okay, whatever. I was like, because he was like, oh, it's only like, we keep you in for the night and then you can go the next day. So I was like, okay, I'll be out on the Tuesday, I'll be back to school by maybe the Friday, possibly the next week. Because he was like, oh yeah, you will know in yourself when you're ready to go back to school. So I was like, okay, chill, great. So Christmas passes, great Christmas, great New Year's, whatever. Then this day comes, and the night before I was like, I was really nervous. I'd never had surgery before, never had anything like this intense done. And I got to the hospital, they put me in a room with 4 other people, and then because they had to inject me with the dye again, like it's a radioactive dye, I didn't mention that, it's radioactive, so I was radioactive twice, not healthy, but you know, whatever. Yeah, so and like you're not supposed to be around children or pregnant people, and because there was a lot of nurses in the ward that I was in that were pregnant, they put me in a private room at the very end of the corridor, so that was great. Private room, all to myself, full big bathroom to myself. Great, and my mom could stay there with me, like she did stay. So they put me in this room, they're like, here, change into these, like strip down, just change into like these well, I forget what they call them, like they're the scrubs pretty much. Not that they're not scrubs, they're like the gown, and like they put a hat on me, and then all of this nurse that takes me down is one of the nicest ever. Like they're all so nice, and I can't thank them enough for making me feel as comfortable as they did in a very unusual and scary place for me. Yeah, they take me down, and then they like check me over with all my information and everything, and then they ask me like if I've had it done before, and they kind of like relax me, and then she's like, okay, we're just gonna move you over to this bed, bearing in mind I have see-through paper underwear on and a gown that's open and halfway in the back. So I sat up in the bed and turned, because there's like a window over the side of like into an office. So I like turned, closed it behind me, and then waddled over to this other bed she was taking me to make sure nobody could see my ass. And then she was just like, I'm just gonna untie these 2 things in the back just to make it easier to pull down the neck part so they could operate in this area. So then she took me and she's like, is it too hot? And I was like, no, it's fine. But I ended up sweating my ass off. What happened was they just put me into theatre. I remember like being wheeled in, and then this like anesthesiologist was talking to me, and he was like telling me, like, asking me what I want to do in college, like what football team I sport, and I was like, I don't support football. And he was like, rugby. I was like, no. He was like, put your arm out the side, and I was like, oh, okay, because it was like all new to me. It was so weird. And then just as they had put it in there, like, has anybody seen the name of my surgeon? And I was like, what? Didn't panic though, because don't want to be panicked. And I'm breathing in and my eyes are feeling heavier and heavier, but I didn't want to close my eyes out of the fear. Like, and my aunt, who has never been like under an anesthetic either, said, oh, I would have been the exact same way, so I'm not crazy. But I was like, I don't want to close my eyes and still be conscious and have them stop with like the anesthetic and have them not know and start operating on me. Like, I'm gonna keep my eyes open until like physically I'm unable to keep them open, and then off I was. And then 3 hours later, I'm woken up in theatre, and I'm panicking, I'm in a hot sweat, I'm like really stressed out, and I'm like, oh god, what's happened? I think the fact that my body was just like so unused to it, and I was told that I would wake up in a recovery ward thing, not the freaking theatre, so I thought they were still operating on me and I was gonna die. So that was fun, but that didn't happen. And then I remember they just wheeled me out, and I can't even remember them wheeling me into a corner. I just remember falling back asleep and then them tipping me onto another bed, and me being so like hot and sweaty that I was stuck, my skin was stuck to like whatever leather like material was on the operating table thing, and they flipped me into the other bed, and then that was fine. And then I remember I kept asking for like a drink of water because like my throat was really dry, and they're like, no, we can't risk you getting sick. And I'm like, you think I'm gonna get sick? And they finally gave me water after I cried about it. I remember that. Then they kept me in this like recovery place for like maybe half an hour. I don't remember very well about time, and there also wasn't a clock anywhere, so I couldn't tell. They weren't very nice in that area, I'm not gonna lie. But and then my surgeon guy comes over and he's like, it didn't go as straightforward as we thought. We're gonna have to keep you in for 48 hours. And I was like, okay. Me being high out of my mind didn't really take in what was happening, but I remember being like really annoyed and like punching the freaking bed because I was told I've been only 24. He told me I've been for longer, and then he told me like, we have to go search you down here. I can't remember exactly what he said, but then I went back up, and the minute I heard my mom's voice when I got back up to my room, I started crying. I remember that. And I'll insert pictures of me coming back just after having surgery. Here is one, I'm sure it'll be on the screen somewhere here. Like, this one nurse was in the first day, and it was like incredible. So yeah, she's like, do you want something to eat? I can get you a yogurt. And I was like, perfect. Something cold, something tasty, but something that I won't have to chew and swallow, because swallowing was really hard for the first like day. So then I end up going to sleep that night. I slept well that night, but I didn't really sleep well for the next few nights. And then the next day they come in like, here are all your medication, and they have like these 5 different medications for me, and I'm like, they're like, one you can chew. I was like, okay, perfect, I'll take that one first, done. And then the rest were like tablets. This was like my worst nightmare, where I have to take a ton of tablets, but I did, so that had to be done. I did take them all. Like, it took a while because like I had to let them dissolve in my mouth, and like wait till they dissolved really small and then swallow them. But most of the time they just dissolve completely before I could swallow them, and it was disgusting. And it was, ugh. My surgeon comes in that day and tells my mom what's gone on, and then it's like a few days passes. Like, he kept me in for that day. He tells me that they took out the gland that had the tumor on it. Like, they took my blood again, and my calcium hadn't changed. So then they had to go exploring further, and they had to take out a thymus, which is like a thing just under here, like in your chest, like the top of your chest, which is why the scar is so big and not really small. So they did have to they thought it would be keyhole. That didn't work, so they had to go bigger, which is why the scar is a lot bigger than it should be. And then it was every single day, morning and evening, they would take my blood. And I think it has something to do with like the fact that I couldn't swallow my medication properly, that my blood stayed so low for so long. Like my calcium was in the 1 point whatever, and a regular calcium level is 2.2 to 2.6. So I was in like the 1.4s, 1.3s, 1.5s, but I felt perfectly fine. Like I was walking around the hospital, no problem. For the first like few days, I didn't sleep very well, and then there was one night where I just woke up and I couldn't feel my body. Like I started to feel very tingly in my hands, my fingers, and my feet and like my toes, and then up my legs, and then it started in my face, and my face started swelling up, and I couldn't feel my lips. I couldn't talk properly. I genuinely thought I was dying. But as my mom said, she knew I was fine, because when the nurses came in and we told them what was happening, I was allowed to stay with my mom, and they didn't like rush me off into some other part of the hospital, which obviously that happened for a while. And they just put me on a like calcium IV. It was like straight into my bloodstream, like a ton of calcium, and that like calmed it. And like once I put that in, I got like really jittery and shaky, almost like I was cold, but I wasn't cold. But I ended up going to sleep once that was in. Like the sound of the machine and the fluids like going through the pipe kind of like relaxed me in a way. Then I woke up again, this all started happening again, so they took more blood. Like they were just constantly taking blood, and this very attractive, nice head nurse came in, took my blood, and then he sat with me and was like, everything's fine. And he started doing like a ton of tests. Like he did tapping tests on my face, which on your face here, you know if your calcium's low, because your like muscles here will start like to spasm. Like I don't know if you can see it, but I can feel now like a pulling on my face when I tap either side. And then he was like tapping my like hands, and he was doing all these tests just to make sure like what was going on. In that time, that was a crazy thing, and I was like, this is the end, I'm dying. Yeah. And then the next night I didn't sleep well either, because my head was really itchy. Like, and I was pulling at my hair, like the hair like back here, I was like yanking at it, and it was stupid. And then I think it was because of a shampoo I'd used, that's what I thought it was. And then the next night I was doing that as well, and then my face started feeling like really itchy and burning up to like 4 o'clock in the morning. And then we called in the nurse, and we were like, there's something wrong. And they're like, oh, it could be the antibiotic, because in this time I was getting 5 different medications, and antibiotic being injected into my cannula IV, and I was getting an injection every night, because you just get that in the hospital. And then they're like, okay, we'll take you off that and we'll give you medication. Also, I forgot to mention, they gave me an opioid, like, which is just morphine. And the first night, and I felt so good. Like, it got rid of all the pain. That was the one painkiller I had the whole time I was there, and then I didn't feel any more pain in my throat. So, did its job, I guess. But it was great. I was kind of high for a while, and it was just felt incredible. But yeah, then this night when they were like, here is a thing that will get rid of whatever reaction you're having to this antibiotic that we injected into your veins. And then I fell asleep, because like my face was so itchy. I was just like, oh, I'm just gonna sleep, whatever. I thought it was because I was like shaving or whatever I had done that day. And then I remember she came in eventually after like half an hour and gave it to me, and then I just like kept being in and out of consciousness. Like I'd be really tired, and then I'd pass out, and then once my mom told me that it was like can cause severe drowsiness, like it almost like set me off doing it more. Like I consciously knew I was doing it. Like I feel like I was doing it to myself, like just passing out to kind of like get out of doing things. But at the same time, I feel like I didn't have control over it. Like I was just like, 1 minute I was sitting up, and then I'd be falling back, and I think I felt like I controlled it, and I just like went back to sleep because I didn't want to do whatever I was supposed to be doing. But yeah, I ended up, that was fine. But for being told I would be in a hospital overnight and then get to leave the next day, then it being 48 hours, and then being there for a week and a half, it was getting kind of scary because I was like, okay, I'm never going to get out of here. My birthday is coming up. I got out the day before my birthday. I was fine. Like, I would be walking around the hospital. I'd get really tired sometimes. My family was coming in to visit. I was fine. But, like, I was able to walk around and, like, not pass out. Like, I would get, like, really heavy-eyed, and, like, my head would start to get, like, kind of weird. And I would, like, when I was moving or just, like, not in my bed, so then I'd go back. But, like, it was fine. Like, the hospital experience wasn't too bad. I had to cancel my 18th birthday party with my family, then my 18th birthday party with friends, and then I had to reschedule all that, so that's great. I had a big, like, huge plaster on this, then I had to go to the doctors. They took it off, they cleaned it, they put on another one, and yeah, it's healing very well, I think. But then a week passed and I was fine that week, but like the Thursday, Friday, I got let out on a Wednesday. I went in on Monday the 6th, and then I got let out on Wednesday the 15th. Then I took that rest of that week off, went back to school the Monday after lunch. Then I took the Tuesday and the Wednesday off, and on the Thursday I took the morning off, and I planned to go in after a small break, which is after 11 o'clock. And then I ended up having, my foot went dead because I was sitting on it in my bed, which is a side effect of all this. Like, you get your hands, feet, face can go dead. You can get like really numb. You can get like really tingling. Like in my exam the other day, there was a tingling in my nose, and I thought, okay, it's all gonna start again, but it was fine. Yeah, my foot weren't dead, and this has happened a lot. Like, even now I'm sitting with my leg crossed and my other leg on top, and this foot is dead, but I'm just like, I don't care enough to move. My foot was dead, and I stood up and I was like, hey, obviously it's a great idea to walk. So I walked, and then my big toe kind of went under my foot, and then that was like kind of sore, but then I kept walking, and then it happened again with my big toe under my foot. And then I got to the top of the stairs, and I lifted my foot whatever way I did, and my foot went like this. This is my foot regularly, and I just stepped up, and I went like this, and I put my whole weight down on my foot sideways, and I heard a loud snap, and I fell to the ground. Thank God I didn't fall down the stairs, but I fell to the ground, and I was like, am I gonna have to call an ambulance? Like, I'm not going back in hospital. I don't give two shits. I'm not going back in hospital, even if my foot is broken. No. But no, I was able to walk. It just bruised really badly, but I ended up still walking to school for after lunch classes, even though it was terribly painful. Like, could have been crying in agony. That's how bad it was. Yeah, then I didn't go to school on that Friday because I felt kind of like just not up to it, and then I felt sick as the day went on. I ate, and then I felt fine again, and then that night I got sick, like threw up, and it was kind of bad. And then that morning I had a basin with me, like in our house. It's like we have one basin that's just for throwing up if you can't make it to the toilet in time. I just brought it to the person's room, whoever is sick. So that was left in my room all night, and then I took that with me all day. It was my brother's birthday that Saturday, so I was sick on the Friday, and then the Saturday early morning I was really sick. Like, got really sick once, then went back to sleep and woke up feeling terrible, didn't eat anything. I planned to take my brother out to breakfast for his birthday. I couldn't do that. I had a hair appointment to get my hair dyed with blonde highlights, which is how it is now. I went to that, and I was like, okay, it'll be fine. I'll just tell myself I'll be fine. I was fine while I was in there. I was chewing gum, because like one of the best things for when you're sick is chewing gum. Like, it just like gets your stomach acid going to like, in a way, it kind of neutralizes whatever's going on down there. And I knew this, so I was like chewing gum the whole time. I sat down, the minute I sat down in there waiting, I felt kind of like sick, but not like I'm gonna throw up sick, just kind of like my tummy is kind of iffy sick. And then I sat in the chair for like 2-3 hours, whatever, and then moved within the like shampoo, the water basin area, and like I felt fine. And then I went to McDonald's and treated my brother to like an early lunch. Yeah, and I was fine. Then I ate perfectly fine, and then we kind of did like a drive around. My mom wanted to get her car washed, and then we just drove out all these other places. And the whole time I kept getting more progressively feeling sick, like I could throw up sick. And then my mom and brother came out of a shop, and my mom had got a sandwich, and I like smelled whatever was in it, I can't remember. I was like, well, that smells good. And then I got really hungry, and then she gave me her sparkling ice drink, and I took it, drank it, no problem. My mom went into the shop and got me a roll with butter and peppers, because like vegetarian life, not really, I'm not really that vegetarian. I've tried to be, but I'm not. But anyway, that's out of the story. Then I ate that, I was fine, didn't feel too bad. Like when I was eating, it kind of settled my stomach for a while, and I don't know why. And then we got a takeaway that night as well, and I ate that, and I was like, oh no, this is not right. And I like had to run upstairs, get the basin. Like, we went to collect the takeaway, and then I had to run upstairs, and I thought I was gonna get sick. I had to lean over the basin. It was terrible. Then I went back downstairs, started eating, and I ate quite a bit, like not a ton, but like enough. And then I felt really sick, so I would like put my plate to the side, and I'd try making myself throw up, like not sticking my fingers down my throat or anything, but like I'd like try and push in on my stomach so that it like would come back up. It didn't work. I ate this happened like 4 or 5 times. Like I ate a small bit, like a few vegetables, a bit of rice, and then I'd try and make myself throw up again. And I kept doing that for a while until I went to bed. And then I went to bed, and it was like on the hour I was getting sick. Like I woke up at I think it was 2. I threw up. I woke up at nearly 3, and I didn't throw up, but I think I got a small bit up. And then I woke up again at 4, and I threw up. And then again at 5, I threw up. And then again at 6, I threw up. And then I kind of slept and woke, because that was Saturday night, and this was going into Sunday. Or no. No, this was Sunday night going into Monday. Yes, that's right, because Friday night I didn't get sick. Then Saturday night I did get sick because my brother was having a party for his birthday. I got sick that night because I ate so much. Well, I think, whatever. And then we got takeaway that night. And then it was like I threw up that. And then on Sunday, I didn't eat much, and I just threw up a ton. Excuse me. And then Sunday night I was sick on the hour. And then on Monday morning, I was scheduled to go to the doctor and get more bloods taken, but because I was sick, we made a doctor's appointment as well as an appointment with the nurse to get bloods. And we went into the nurse's office to get bloods done first. She was like, I don't know what you need to get done, just in case there's something else that could be causing the sickness, and it's not just like a bug or whatever. So we went to the doctor, and they're like, hey, we're gonna do a full checkup on you. Nothing was wrong with me. They just did extra bloods and then made them urgent and got them done quickly. And it was like I had 3 dry cornflakes because I had to take my medication, which was like 2 of these chewable calciums and 1 milligram of like a vitamin D. It's a 1-alpha. It's like a vitamin D tablet. And I'd take them, and I took some water with them, and then I had 3 pieces of dry cereal because I was like, I need to eat something, or else I'm either gonna get sick again, or I'm just gonna be hungry and my medication won't go down properly. And then within maybe 10 minutes after coming back upstairs, I threw up my water, which is obviously my medication was thrown up as well. So like everything I put into my body was rejecting everything. And then I got home and I napped for a while, and then my mom got a call, and I was like, okay, this is the doctor now, something's happening. And she comes up to me and is like, we have to go back into hospitals. This is the 3rd time in hospital in a month, and they just want to see what's up, whatever. Because my calcium was at 3.5 from being, that's higher than it was when I first went into hospital to get all these checkups, like because my calcium was so high. like first time I got bloods done, my calcium was high, they put me in hospital, did all these checks, it was like 3.2 whatever, did all these checks to see what was up. Took out whatever, then my calcium dropped to 1 point whatever. Slowly worked its way up to 1.9, they let me out of hospital. Then I went back to the doctor, it was at 2 point whatever. The next week I go back to the doctor, it's at 3.5, which is higher than what it was initially and why this all started, which was kind of annoying. Yeah, it's me back into hospital. My medication dose was too high, so now it's brought down. They took me off all medications completely and put me on a saline drip to just completely flush my blood and see what is up and how my body is reacting to everything if off medication. And yeah, I was in there for another 3 days. All that I got out of it was them changing my medication. Then I got out of hospital and I haven't been back in since, fingers crossed. I got bloods done on Monday this week. It is now Wednesday. The doctor called my mom this morning, they're at 2.2. They were at 2.6 last week, so they were like fine. Yeah, I have to just get more bloods done next week and my medication's staying the same if anything changes. The only thing that can change at this point is my medication being up or down. Like they'll take me off some things or they'll add me on more things. But yeah, so far that's the story. And I think this is traumatic. Like I feel like being in hospital for so long is such a traumatic experience. Like my mental health completely plateaued. Like I was crying every day when they told me, oh, we're going to stay in for another day, and then there was another day, and there was another day, and then they were like, oh, we might be able to let you out tomorrow if it keeps climbing the way it does, and then it wouldn't reach the high enough thing. Like it was like 1.7, 1.8, and they're like, if it's 1.9 you can go, and it never got there. And then they'd be like, okay, we'll keep you on another night. And I was just crying. It got to the point where I was like, I'm just not eating, I'm just not doing anything. I think I just prefer die than staying here another day. And that's how much it was getting to me, that I was like, I'm not eating, and I refused to eat a meal. Then eventually I was like, well, if I don't eat, I'm never going to get better, I'm never going to get out of here. So I ate and shut my mouth. And then one of the evenings, it was like, I think it was Saturday, my mom and I, we went down to the reception area of the hospital, because we were like, we're not staying in this room all the time. They wanted us to they wanted me in particular walking around, so I wasn't like just being lazy. And they expected me, oh, we'll walk up and down the hallway of the one ward. But no, I was doing rounds of the whole hospital. Like even when I had things in my arm, they would put it on like a wheelie thing, so I could get in and out of the bathroom without having to call the nurse to unhook me, so I could go to the bathroom, then come back in and plug me in again. Like I was dragging this freaking thing around with me all around the hospital. But yeah, this Saturday night, my mum and I, we just talked to the reception. We were like, we're not going to set any expectations or hopes that we'll be going home tomorrow, no matter what anybody says. We're not gonna, if they say we could be going home tomorrow, we're not gonna be rejoicing and have everything packed up like we did before. We're just gonna wait till we get told we can go, and then we'll start packing and we'll start being happy. And yeah, that's when it kind of got better. I'm out now, hopefully out for good, fingers crossed. Hopefully my calcium stays stable, and hopefully I'm off all of these meds soon enough. But also, I meant to say, having some being too high in vitamin D can cause vomiting and can eventually lead to death. It's called hypervitaminosis D. That's what happened to me. I feel like my calcium was really high, so therefore my vitamin D was really high. So I could have died. It can eventually lead to death. Love that. Nearly died. That's the end of this story. I hope you enjoy this story time of me rambling on about a hospital. I hope you enjoy my scar. It's beautiful. Like it feels like skin now. Like I don't feel that. Well, I do feel it, but like it just feels like a lump of extra skin. It doesn't feel like a scar or anything. So it's healing, thank God. But yeah, hope you enjoyed. I will talk to you all again very soon, hopefully, with another video. Bye.